Great to have you joining me this morning for 10 minutes of morning calm with New Church Live. And today, just a sort of a side note. And not everyone is married, and lots of single people watch this. And so this one is about marriage. But if you're in any kind of relationship, I think a lot of this stuff is germane, so to speak. And it's looking at what is the right challenge of marriage. And again, if you're not in a marriage, just think what's the right challenge of relationship might be a better way to say that. So thank you for joining us. Great to have you here. And this is the thought for the day. So one of the things that people talk a lot about, and they do a lot of weddings and work with a lot of marriages, is they talk about, I hear a lot from people like, well, I want to make sure that, we continue to challenge each other. And there's a lot of wisdom in that. There's a lot of wisdom in marrying somebody who's gonna keep the thing moving. And this is the part where I would go not but I'd go in. Find to have that, and also make sure you have this, because I think this is the right challenge in your marriage. So I'm going to get at this elliptically. So the word angels in Hebrew means messenger. For those of you who've been to a wedding I've done, I sort of riff off a little bit of Ram Dass's famous quote. I say, what is marriage or conjugal love from a Christian New Church perspective? Anam Cara, soul friendship from a Celtic perspective. It's the idea of two angels walking each other home. Two angels walking each other home. So the idea they're angels, we could also look at messengers. Angels, that's that soul part of us, lives on to eternity. We believe marriage can be part of that eternity. And that idea that in our lives we meet these very close partners, and what they are is they're messengers. They bring a message with them, and we bring a message with us. And our job in a marriage is to share that. And it's like, just think, if you're in a loving relationship, what's the message that your partner shares? That's just a beautiful way to hold it. And then let's tie this back in. So the idea of the right challenge for marriage is it's important to say, like, okay, there's this message that this partner brings, there's this message that this partner brings, and they sort of mix those messages up, and they get into conversation, and it helps them both grow. And if they're not too enamored with being right, it can actually be a very fruitful thing to have this idea that we're each given a message, quote unquote. In other words, think of a core value that is expressed in your life. And that interplay between the two is very fruitful. That's good. And this other part. And I would offer out there as well that your marriage or your relationship, whatever kind of connection we're talking about here, or even you look at your family, what is the message that corporate body is there to offer out there in the world? In other words, what is the message that your marriage can bring to the world? What is the message that your very close friendships can bring to the world? And because it's and this is so tricky, marriage or anything, it's more than just the relationship between two people. It actually ripples out in all kinds of ways, and it's funny because we just don't talk about it that much. And that's where I think we can find the right challenge in marriage. Like, what difference do you and your partner want your marriage to make in the world? Where's that part where you really both feel called to do something, to make a difference somehow? And oftentimes, friends, that's where we'll find that pointed out is where our heart breaks, points right to what we value the most, and where God might be calling us to do something. And we really have to pay attention to that. And once we pay attention to that, how do we lean into that? How do we live into that? How do we do all those different things? That really, really matters. So when you look at the question, what is the right challenge in marriage? Don't just leave it as, well, my job is to challenge my partner. Be careful with that, right? Because like ego can get in there, and there's part of that when I hear that, it's like, well, be careful, because anything that puts me up here and my partner down here, that my job, I get it, and my job is to challenge you to get it and to come up to my level. Not danger Will Robinson, as the old saying goes. That's a red flag. We don't want to do that. Way too much ego in that. But what we can do is we can have this back and forth where we each have carried a message, a lived value, a certain love, and we get into conversations how that might be realized. And then not only have the conversation this way, but have the conversation that way. Like, what does that look like between you and your loved one? And what does that look like between you, your loved one, and the world? And that deals with action and service and commitment. And I mean, there's all kinds of beautiful words we could use there. And that's, I think, where marriages start to thrive on a different level. And while this is my closing, and that is why, in my closing thought here, is why, from a Christian Youth Church perspective, the trine that really marriage sort of winds around is the idea of love, wisdom, and useful service. When we bring those three together, love, wisdom, and useful service, that will keep a marriage moving forward, because what God has yoked together continues to move, join together, continues to move. It moves out into the world, making a difference for lots of people. So there's your thought for today. So your conversation, and you could have it either just inside your head or with a loved one, was, what is the right challenge of marriage? If you're not married, what is the right challenge of relationship? Like, where are you feeling there's a relationship? Oh yeah, we could do something out there into the world and make a difference in some way, shape, or form. So that's the thought today, folks. And what we're going to do now, as I battle a sneeze, is we're going to come in for a soft landing. And the way that soft landing looks is this. We're going to take a breath, and then we're going to do a little meditation. We're going to do a little prayer. We're going to do a little blessing, and then we'll say hi to folks on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath. Meditation on a line from the Old Testament. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends, let's take a little gander here and see how folks are doing. And I'm hoping you all have a wonderful, amazing weekend ahead. I know at New Church Live, we certainly do as well. All right. Sorry, folks, taking me a minute here. Come on, Nelly. All right. Number of comments there. Kate writes, thanks so much, Chuck. No problem, Kate. And, lots of prayers for you, my friend. Marcus, good morning to you, and thank you for handling yesterday. Appreciate that. Talia, good morning to you, and I hope you're doing very well, my friend. So wishing you all the very best. Have a great weekend, and we will see you again next week. Take care.